Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Well, today we are going to have a lesson on B1 or B2. Okay, it will be a lesson on grammar. I have a member on a WhatsApp group who suggested, Mr. Cruz, he suggested having a intermediate, pre-intermediate, intermediate class. So here I am to give a sample of my intermediate class. Okay, going to show you a situation. A couple of months ago, I planned to travel. So I decided to travel here in Brazil, and I'm going to show you what happened on my trip. So, what can you tell me about this picture? Yes, so this is a plane. Okay. So what happened here? The plane took off. The plane took off. What time? Let's think of a time. Okay. So let's put here 11 o'clock. So what happened at 11 o'clock? Good. The plane took off. So the plane took off at 11 o'clock. And look, this is me in the photo. So I arrived at the airport at 11:10. So what happened at 11:10? Yes, I arrived at the airport. Okay. My question to you now. Answer, please. Did I travel? No, unfortunately, no. Why not? Because I arrived late at the airport. Yes. So now I am going to join both phrases. When I arrived at the airport, when I arrived at the airport, the plane had already taken off. Okay, so let me put this in one phrase. When I arrived at the airport, the plane had already taken off. All right, so we have two parts here. One part, I arrived at the airport. The other part, the plane had already taken off. But I have more questions to you. Which of these two actions happened first? First I arrived or first the plane took off? So first the plane took off. Okay, in the first action, so for the first action, we are going to use this structure, had, if it's negative, had plus past participle of the verb. So we have this structure to form the first action of a phrase. We use the verb had and the past participle. So let me show you here which one is had. So this one is had. And the past participle, this is the past participle of the verb. This is a phrasal verb, taken off. It comes from the verb take. The past is took, and the past participle is taken off. So this is how you form. This is how you form the first action of the phrase. The second action of the phrase, so for the second action, we use past simple. We use the past simple to form the clause. Past simple, okay? So the past simple is like, I arrived at the airport. This is the complement. I arrived at the airport. Okay, so we are talking about two actions that happened in the past. One action happened before another action or earlier than the other action. When I arrived at the airport, the plane had already taken off. I misspelled plane here. Okay, the plane had already taken off. So this is a common situation, especially when you describe narratives in the past using different tenses, using past simple, past continuous, past perfect. This lesson is on past perfect. So the topic of the grammar is past perfect with versus past simple. Past simple. Okay, good. All right, I'm going to show you another photo now, and I want you to create a situation. Here, you have people at the cinema. So I'm going to give you prompts. When arrived at the cinema, it is the first part, the first clause. When I arrived at the cinema, you can put when I arrived at the cinema, the film started. Okay, so using these prompts, I would like you to make a phrase similar to this one I created about the airport. When I, at the cinema, the film, okay, what is the phrase? Yes, so I will write it down to you. Okay, when I arrived at the cinema, the film had already started. Excellent. When I arrived at the cinema, the film had already started. I can also change the position. I can say the film had already started when I arrived at the cinema. Another thing, the word already or already is only to emphasize, okay? It's optional. You can omit. You can say, when I arrived at the cinema, the film had started. When I arrived at the airport, the plane had taken off. Already is just to emphasize, okay? Another picture. This is a very common situation at the end of the year when students are applying for a name. They are, applying for a name. So some of them, they get to the school, they get to the place a little bit late. Even if it's 1 minute, if the gates are closed, they can't enter, they can't do the test. So what has happened here? What happened here? Think about the situation similar to this one. So now it's your turn to create a phrase, okay? And I will clean everything here. Now you can pause the video if you want and copy the phrases. Well, let me just show you here so you can copy the phrases now. Pause the video and copy the phrases. Okay. And now you have two more situations. One about DNA, this one, and this one about the children getting home. There were no food left. There was nothing to eat. So I would like you to make the phrases, okay? Once you're finished, you are going to practice now. Here are a few practice phrases. My sister had already gone to bed when Matt phoned. So how do you know if you are going to use the past simple, if you are going to use the past perfect? The past perfect is always going to be the first action. So think which of these two actions happened first. When you identify the first action, you use had. If it's negative, hadn't, and the past participle. Okay, so this is for the first action. This is the structure, had or hadn't for negative and past participle. The second action, you use the past simple. So sometimes the past simple comes at first in the first clause, or sometimes it comes on the second part of the clause, okay, of the phrase. The second phrase, I go to the park after I do my homework. So which did I do first? First, did I go to the park, or first I did my homework? So which one is a logical? So first, I believe I did my homework and then I went to the park. So I went to the park after now the first action. So remember the first action, we have to use had and the past participle of the verb. The verb given here is do. So the past participle of do is done. So I went to the park after I had done my homework. Good. Now you can write the phrases, copy the phrases and complete on your notebook for all of them. Do you want more practice? Here we have more. Similar to the previous exercise, you will have to make phrases and use the verb in the correct form, using the past perfect had and the past participle of the verb or past simple. By the time we went home, we had spent all our money. One more, going to do the second one together as well. They just moved into the house when we meet them. So they had just is similar to already. The ideal of using just is also to emphasize. They had just moved into the house when we met them. Okay? So this is good practice for you. Well, I hope you enjoyed the lesson and then you can do it and practice a lot of these past perfect lesson. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the lesson. See you.